The polling is very good for Donald Trump. Not universally, but pretty much almost universally. When Rachel Maddow was having her 27-minute meltdown about Ronna McDaniel 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago, she was saying how dire the circumstances because, according to the polls, Donald Trump is going to be the next president. Even she admits it. And that brings me to an actress who most people may not even know, but her hysteria is proof of the thing you just said, Stu. I knew this actress from What's Love Got to Do with It? The great biopic about Tina Turner's life based on her book, I, Tina. And this actress played Tina Turner's mother in the movie. Remember her?
I'm her mother. This Anna Mae's mother. Y'all believe that?
I can't believe that.
No. My goodness. What's a fine young thing like you doing with 2 grown daughters? Hey, Miss Elie.
How can I help you, Mr.
Turner. Ike Turner.
I didn't pay for Anna Mae to come all the way up here from Nutbush, Tennessee to be wasting time with a bunch of musicians.
But wait a minute, Mama, it wasn't like that. Anna Mae
Elie,
but Mama,
take Anna Mae in the back. Mr. Turner. I don't know what you had in mind, but this little girl's gonna be a nurse. Bring a steady paycheck.
Great clip and great movie. And Jennifer Lewis, 1N, unlike the other Jennifer, who's got 2, did a great job. Now, these days, she's starring in the sitcom Blackish. She's 67 years old, and she is really, really upset about the prospect of Donald Trump retaking the presidency. She sat in an interview with Zerlina Maxwell, a host of the radio show Mornings with Zerlina right here on SiriusXM. Take a listen.
And we do nothing. We sit on our couches. Oh, I don't believe in voting. You fucking idiot. If that man gets in, as soon as he takes the oath, he will have generals walk down the steps of the Capitol. He will take a hammer and break the glass where the Constitution is, and he will tear it up in our faces. And say, now, I'm the king of the fucking world. You will bow down, bitches. He will punish everybody that didn't vote for him. Let me tell y'all how I know this shit. I know it because I know what mental illness looks like.
That's true.
That mania is unstoppable. See, this motherfucker's Hitler. He didn't come to play.
Very dramatic. I mean, guys, that's super dramatic and very well, delivered, right? I mean, we have to admit, like, I'm scared.
I found it very compelling. I love that. Yeah. I used to have Zerlina Maxwell on my Fox shows, but I love the response like, they will fucking send the generals and he will tear up the Constitution and break the glass.
That was an incredible clip. It really was. And, we sometimes look at the way that the left treats Trump and reacts to him. And, the fact that they're trying to put him in prison, they're trying to throw him off ballots, they're doing all these things. It's because in so many people in public life, in the media, in politics, who are on the left, what you just heard is their entire internal monologue. That is exactly what is inspiring them to act the way they are. When they seem irrational, when they seem like they're doing these things, they're saying democracy's under attack, and that's why we're trying to remove the other guy who's on the ballot. That sort of behavior can only come from an internal monologue just like that. And if you justify the world in those sorts of terms, of course you can really kind of justify any behavior to stop that from happening. That's a fascinating clip. I think first of all, hilarious, but also very, very revealing.
Yeah. That's why we played it so high up.
I mean, but it's also just it's such a bizarre fantasy. I mean, the generals are gonna, what generals? Like
Right.
what's gonna happen? Like
Mhm.
January 20th, Trump's gonna go to the White House. He's gonna call a Joint Chiefs of Staff and say, like, I'm the king now. I need you to march down the Capitol steps so everyone knows I'm the king now. I'm gonna go to the National Archives. I'm gonna tear the Constitution up,
Yeah, you need
and
to
then
break the
I'll
glass.
disband Congress. Like, what are you talking about? Like, none of this. This is like an opium fantasy. It's completely bizarre. It's a very strange thing to even talk about. But as Stu points out, they think this is going to happen. These are the same people who thought that we were 5 minutes away from losing, our democracy because QAnon shaman, stood in the well of the Senate. It's bizarre.
Yeah, but then of course she gives it up when she was like, "How do I know it's going to happen?" Because I know what mental illness looks like. Still, well, that's
she
true.
said as she proved her point. Yes, the absolute. Has there ever been a more? I did not believe a lot of the things she said in that monologue, but when she said, "I know what mental illness looked like," I believed every word of it.
It was meta. It was very meta. I was having one of those moments. So yeah, that's just a little sampling. I mean, I will say while I'm on the topic of hysterical leftist meltdowns, did you guys see, Elie Mystal, he writes for The Nation. He's one of the most just angry, racist people on X, and that's saying something. And, he goes on MSNBC, Joy Reid's show. She's more racist than he is, but I mean, it's a tight race. He wrote this scathing opinion piece about Justice Stephen Breyer, who wrote the following of the Supreme Court, saying, the Supreme Court I served on, he's retired, was made up of friends. And it pretty much went downhill from there, says Elie Mystal. So Breyer wrote this op-ed in the New York Times about friendship amongst the court's justices, which has always been something that I've known of since I was a law student and then a lawyer and then covered the high court for Fox for 3 years. I love this about our Supreme Court. It's an example for us all that, they are so divided ideologically and always have been. Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Justice Scalia saw absolutely nothing the same way. They're just completely different philosophies. And yet they were, if not best friends, close to best friends. They vacationed together all the time. They hung out together all the time. They respected each other's intellect. They understood they were very different ideologically, but there was kindness and respect. And I think maybe even, the love of good friends there. Well, Elie Mystal's pissed about that because Justice Breyer is coming out to say, look, let me tell you something. This is like a body that we can still look up to. And this is Ellie's reaction. The title of the piece is The Supreme Court I Served On Was Made Up of Friends. It pretty much went downhill from there. He says, it's about how some of the justices used to play bridge together, that's those two as well, while others went to the opera and how they would share jokes over lunch. The point of his piece, to the extent there was one, was to distract readers from their decisions and any number of horrid decisions emanating from the corrupt and broken Supreme Court and burnish the institution's reputation at a time when the people have had just enough of these justices. Talking about their low approval ratings, he says, it's our opinion that the opinion exposes the court as a partisan cabal beholden to the Republican Party or the conservative culture warriors. The Roberts Court is set on devouring the rights of women, people of color, and the LGBTQ community while preserving the rights of mass shooters to amass deadly arsenals. But Breyer wants us to know that in my 28 years on the court, I did not hear a voice raised in anger. Why the hell not, he says. Why weren't you, Steve, sitting there screaming at your conservative colleagues or asking everyone who would listen to stop your, quote, friends from hurting people? Why do you think intellectual detachment in the face of active horror is a virtue when it's more like a sin? Maybe Breyer can enjoy a night at the opera with people who think a 10-year-old girl can be raped and forced to bring the pregnancy to term as a matter of law, but I can't. Maybe Breyer should have spent less time having lunch with his conservative colleagues and more time having lunch with their victims. And just a couple more. There are a lot of people who believe that politics and policy differences can and should be ignored among colleagues and friends. They believe that the fact that one person supports, say, amnesty for migrants who are out of status, while another supports shooting them to death should their children miraculously manage to squeeze through the razor wire barricade erected to drown them, shouldn't prevent these two people from enjoying a few beers together. The audience for Breyer's anecdotes is likely the same demographic as Breyer himself. Old, straight, white, college-educated men. And people who desperately want to attain the status and prestige of old, straight, white, college-educated men. Breyer can maintain the intellectual gooberism of institutional collegiality in the face of real-world harms because those harms are not visited on him. He's not the guy the cops choked to death. He's not the immigrant being deported away from his children. He's not the woman being forced to incubate a rapist baby against their will. This is despite the fact that Breyer voted with the leftist of the left, the biggest liberal vote on the court for his entire nearly 30-year tenure. It's not good enough. Why? Because he's nice to the Republicans. He doesn't demonize them. And of course, his biggest sin, he's say it together, a straight, white, college-educated man. And that's really the problem for Elie Mystal. This is crazy-ass, racist, classist shit. It's fine. We know he'll get away with it. But it does show you the extent of, it's not just Trump derangement syndrome. It's like Republican derangement syndrome, Dave. It's something beyond just Trump here.
Yeah, it's hate. It's a preaching of hatred. It's preaching that if somebody disagrees with you politically, or if somebody is of a different faith, or if somebody views the world in a way that is different from the way that you view the world, you should hate them. Not just vote a different way, but you shouldn't be in their presence, right? This goes back to the taunting of Trump officials in restaurants, and don't be polite to these people, right? Like, make them be social outcasts. And I mean, it'll destroy our society. You know, you were reading that, and I was thinking back, like, the last year that I was really in theater was 2012, and I was the host of a short play series in downtown New York. And part of the bit was, and it wasn't a bit really, like, what was that I was conservative, I was a Republican, and I would have fun with the audience. This was in Bowery Poetry Club. Everybody that, I mean, they weren't Democrats, they were communists, right? But we'd have fun. And after the show, we'd have interesting conversations. And it's like, well, Dave, Condoleezza Rice is interesting, right? And it was okay. That seems like a million years ago to me now on all sides. I mean, it just couldn't happen today.
I want to tell you about Gen 90, the latest breakthrough in skincare from our friends over at Genucel. Those bags under your eyes from lack of sleep, being overworked, stress, and even those seasonal allergies that come with spring weather, Gen 90 can help. It also helps around the eyes, the forehead, crow's feet, laugh lines, even the chin, and it starts working in seconds. Gen 90 technology is luxurious. It's silky smooth. Now you can get Genucel's classic under-eye bags and puffiness serum with every Gen 90 order, and also get their luxurious Genucel XV Collagen Builder Moisturizer with vitamin C and hyaluronic acid in a pure natural base for stunning results day after day. Go to Genucel.com Genucel.com right now for incredible packages, over 50% off during Genucel's spring sale. Results are guaranteed or your money back, plus get an extra 10% off automatically applied to checkout. Genucel.com/MK60, check it out. Order right now and get a free limited edition spa box and bonus gifts and free shipping. That's Genucel.com/MK60, GENUCEL.com/MK60. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.